Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a special treat. Some of my clients have been with me for decades. It's absolutely nuts. The legend, Carole Geronsin, Genelle, CEO of the company, G Money, also known as George. So for the people that, maybe haven't met you guys are Southern California legends. You're legends, literally legends in the Berkshire Hathaway system, right? For length of time, for transactions, for experience. But this is clearly just a promo for you guys. You're also some of the nicest, hardworking people in this business. Like no douchebaggery. You know what I mean? Like there's some people that are hardworking, but you guys are just nice. So with that, I'm not sure what we should even talk about. I'm just kidding. All right. So Carole, tell the listeners, we're going to go around the room. How long you been in the business, right? How long you been in the business? And what role are you in today? Because we're going to talk family business today. So Talk to us.
So for me, it'll be almost 45 years, long time. My role is really anymore supporting George and Genelle and everybody going on listing appointments, taking over. I'm more of a relationship person.
Yeah.
I'm not a techie person by any stretch of the
What?
imagination.
What?
No, I'm not. But I quote myself as really a team member anymore, as odd as it may be, because I started this business.
Yes.
They came in, but they have taken over. I've passed the baton, and I could not be more thrilled about that.
I think for every mom listening to this right now or dad listening right now, I think about it for myself, like with my two boys. Like there's just going to be so many lessons to unpack here in that. George, I'm going to go to you next. Sure. So George, how long in the business? You two got to kind of bounce the microphone between you two. Take control of it. Think you're on stage rocking.
Last time I've been here was on a stage, but okay.
That's right.
I might start singing.
Come fly with me. Sorry, we've been hanging out for a long time for the people that are listening. So George, how old are you and how long in the business?
So 42, I've been in the business 19 years. So I started out in Arizona.
Love it. So you started out in Arizona. When did you transition to California and did you immediately join the fan biz?
So one of the reasons why I started out in Arizona, this was in early 2003, is that I wanted to learn the business on my own. And I thought that it was important in joining the family business and not being an anchor is kind of learning some of the nuances of the business and failing, so to speak, on my own before coming in, and maybe I could bring something that I wouldn't have already. So
where did that thought come from? Because that's very, I'm telling my boys, don't come in the business, go do something else on your own, and then come back so you earn it. You're not going to be a professional son in my world. You clearly had a similar value. Where did that come from?
Well, it definitely didn't come from in college. So I had my first couple of years at college were really rough. I went to the Harvard of the West Coast, which was Arizona State University. I like to say.
The Harvard of the West Coast, yes. First of all, Arizona's not on the West Coast. Let's just start right there. It's in the West.
But I learned how to socialize more than, I would say, educational standards. But I came up to a point in my junior year that I realized that I was on the 6-year program and I needed to do something with my life.
Right.
And that's where everything changed. I honestly realized that on my own. I started taking 22 and 23 hours in business school, doing very, very well, graduated in 4.5 years. And then I realized on that point in what I accomplished in that, that I needed to start on my own in real estate and figure out if this is something that I wanted to do before moving back to Orange County, California, to join the family business.
Did that drive you nuts?
Not at all.
You weren't saying,
I was
honey,
thrilled
come,
that he did that. No, absolutely not. In fact, I encouraged it.
Okay. And yet, switching to Genelle. Wait, when did you join? After how many years?
So I joined spring of 2004. So it was about 1.5 years.
Okay. All right. So you cut your teeth, you learned some experiences, you knew what you were doing.
I wouldn't say I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
For sure.
That's
I
an even
faked
better
a lot
answer.
Of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Janelle, you're up.
I'm up.
How old are you? How long in the business?
Do I really have to say my age?
Yes. 300 and yes.
I am 43 almost 44.
Okay.
I have been in the business 20 years.
Yes.
So I have just celebrated my second decade in.
Congrats.
And I actually also went to Arizona State. My brother decided to follow me there.
Yes.
I got my degree in elementary education. Always thought that I would be a teacher. Never had any desire whatsoever to go into the family business of real estate.
Right.
So you can say whether it was God's will or happenstance. I came back after I was teaching in Arizona and found out that it wasn't all that I had hoped that it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I came back and decided that I would help my mom out until I decided what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And here I am 20 years later.
So
Lucky me.
Right. For context for the listeners, transactions volume in GCI last year?
So transactions last year, I believe we closed 138 transactions, and our GCI just went over about 4.2 million for the first time in our career.
Okay. So by the way, yeah, like best year ever.
Best year ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And less transactions and
Less
highest
unit count.
Unit
yeah,
count was
yeah.
down from 2020. Yeah.
So it worked, Mom.
It did. It did.
So let me ask you this. Knowing what you know now, there's a woman listening right now, or maybe a guy who's thinking about having their kids join the business. What do you think is the like looking backwards? What would you have done differently? The most important piece of advice you would share with that person to really do it right?
I can honestly say, Tom, I would not have done one single thing differently. The one thing that I did with George, which he will tell you, is when he came in as a parent and as a team person, you have to be willing to allow yourself not to get a listing, not to get a sale,
Right.
and let them take over. If that sale is so important to you that you will not let your son or your daughter go it on their own and take over, they are never going to grow and get better. And that's what I did with George. We went on a couple of them. I wouldn't talk, and we didn't get them. And we go on the third one, and Mom, you gotta jump in and say something here. Nope. And then he got the listing.
Yeah.
And my gosh, now, George and Genelle are two people that everybody calls to
Right.
get advice from
Right.
and everything, because they're so knowledgeable. And before, it was George was my son, Genelle was my daughter. Well, now I'm George's mom and Genelle's mom, so
Exactly.
it's completely changed. And like I say, I couldn't be happier.
So your mom lets you guys out on a leash. You guys start making all these mistakes. Were you asking for help?
Well, so interesting. My
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
working with her was
Yeah.
different than George's.
Right.
Okay, you should talk because you went
So,
into administrative role first.
I would like
Right.
to say I was the janitor
Right.
all the way up
Yep.
to the position that I am right now.
You did the
And-
same thing I did with my pops.
And it
Same deal.
literally,
Yep.
she put me in a position where I had to do every single aspect
Right.
of that business.
Right.
And I say to this day, I was the most glorified, underpaid assistant.
Right. Right.
But it gives that fire. You want to learn.
Yes.
You want to get better.
Right.
So for 2 years, I worked with her. I was
Yeah.
not allowed to say a single thing on an appointment, which is actually very interesting because totally different dynamic, right?
Yes. Yes.
But I had to learn how to write contracts. I had to edit the contracts. I had to handle the marketing. I had to be the transaction coordinator. I had to do cold calling.
Yes.
I had to do open houses. I was doing all of that, and I was not getting a single commission check.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kids or young adults, I did not earn a single commission check until I was 3 years into the business.
Did that piss you off?
A little bit, slightly, a little bit, but only it made me though want to do it. It actually when I'd see other people getting checks for deals that they were closing, I would be like, God, how come I was involved in that, right?
Right.
I was involved in that. But then when I got involved in it,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, it's your baby. You're
Yeah.
taking this from start to
Right.
finish.
Right.
You are not having the transaction coordinator do the file for you.
Mm-hmm.
You are not having anybody market it for you. You are doing it
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Yes.
And so then when I started to get a commission check, you're proud. you earned that.
Yes.
And it's more kind of then as we kind of grew together as a team on how to incorporate that. And I mean, I think for George too, like George has just always had an incredible innate ability.
I was just going to say innate ability with the numbers.
With numbers.
The
like
math,
that is,
the economy.
Literally like out of the gate.
It's a
so
superpower.
It's such a gift.
No,
it
he
really
is.
is truly such a gift.
He is.
That was never anything he had to learn.
Yeah.
He's not, if you like truly know him, he's not a salesperson.
No.
He is one of the most authentic individuals, like just genuinely good-hearted guys.
Yep.
And
I like this podcast.
God, George is like, could you please share all this with my wife and all my friends from college? Yeah.
So,
but he's not. But that's the skill set he had to learn,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, we're going to get into the different dynamics, but I want to
Yeah.
know this first before I go to George.
Yeah.
Did it piss you off, be honest,
Yeah.
when Smarty Pants just came in and started slinging deals and getting commission checks
he
while you
didn't.
were still grinding?
He didn't.
No.
But I think what's important to let the listeners know is that what were you actually paid salary-wise? And this is granted, this is 2001, 2002. So they have an understanding when you came in and what you were actually getting paid for the first 2-3 years.
I made $36,000 a year.
And that was a lot back then.
Yeah, it was a decent
30.
amount.
I made $3,000 a year. Yeah.
$3,000 a month.
A month. Sorry.
Yeah.
I made $3,000 a month. Yes.
I don't even remember that.
Well, that was my raise. Actually, sorry. That was my raise once I could finally start doing everything. I actually started out at $2,200 a month. Yes. Yes.
I think we may have talked about that on a coaching session.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go a different direction just for a second, and let's talk about what have we learned in branding and marketing a family business to its advantage or disadvantage? What's worked and what hasn't worked over the years? From market, and what's so great for the person listening right now, this also could be the same thing as marketing a team, right? You're marketing a team. They're marketing a family team and a team, blah, 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 right? So what's worked, what hasn't worked, lessons along the way?
Well, I think for us, being a family and being able to market ourselves as a family, it's relatable to the people that we represent, a lot of the people that we represent, right? So I think that's the biggest positive if you do have a family business is that, one, the photo is everything. We get so many comments on our postcards and our family picture because we are, and it resonates on our photo that we're a happy, loving family.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing this together.
Thank God for Photoshop.
Well, we didn't have Photoshop back then, so we had to fake it.
Yeah,
You know?
let's all act like we like each other.
But
so go ahead. So do you think, do you have data that says our clients appreciate it because we're family, or is it we just believe that families
people
prefer
have
to work with
commented
families?
about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've
I'm not
got
challenging you, I'm just
numerous,
curious.
yeah, we have
we get a lot
numerous
of people
comments
that
about
literally
that.
called us
Yeah.
because of our picture,
Yeah.
and
Right.
our postcard with the family photo.
Isn't that amazing to think that people actually, I mean, we all know this, right? And you guys, unlike some, actually have photos that look like you. Do you know what I mean? There's
Right.
still a lot of people out there that you're like, really?
This is
And then you look at the photo, look at them, you're like, whoa, all right. Okay, so besides the photo, what else has worked from a marketing standpoint? How have you positioned the family to be the force in the marketplace?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do is know your audience, right? So if we know we're going into a listing appointment, okay, we'd like to try and get a little background on who we're going in to meet. And the great thing is we've got multi-generations within a family here.
Yep.
And we also have the male-female component within the family
Right.
business as well, right? So depending on who your audience is, we have the capability to work with who we think would be best suited personality-wise.
Someone to take the lead.
Someone
Yep.
to take the
Exactly.
lead, right?
Yep.
And what's been most interesting is we're not 100% right all the time. We'll go into some appointments and then there'll just be a natural gravitation
Right.
towards one person
Right.
or another. But that is one thing that we've done from a marketing standpoint and just also from a business standpoint is typically we will, if we can, two of us will go.
Yeah.
One, to present the fact that you're getting principles, multiple principles,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then you also have the capability that you've got the different personalities.
Yeah.
So instead of going in and you're flipping a coin, hoping you get heads or tails, depending on who's sitting across the table from you, you get multiple options.
Needless to say, I go on the ones with the older sellers.
Well, she always thinks that that's
I
important.
know.
Right.
Now that's,
You're like-
that's a
you're
story
like-
she says in her head.
Right. She's like, so you're bringing in the big guns. Okay, I'm ready. The seller's 148. Bring in Carole. God. Okay, but let's talk about that. What about the dynamic of, so long before these two, you have always been, as Tim Grover would say, a cleaner. You are a killer
Yes.
on listing appointments.
Yes, this is
Always and
true.
forever. So what was it like to suddenly have to change to a multi-person, multi-voice? Like, did you guys like say, okay, I'm going to say this, and you say this, and I'm going to say this, and you say this? Because otherwise some people can stumble over each other. So how did you do it?
We didn't plan
No, we never
on what
planned.
we would say. It was definitely more of an organic conversation that happened once we were there. But we definitely each have our fortes.
Right.
So we will we know, I mean, definitely now, but you learn as you go through
Right.
who really has the passion and who has the knowledge base to go into
Right.
kind of marketing more so than someone else.
Sure.
Past data experience more so than somebody
Yeah.
else. And not to say that we all can't do it, because we're certainly all fully capable of being able to do that. But when you have multiple people, you kind of let the lead take the lead
Right.
in that department.
How did you do it? Because it had to be more so your ego. And I don't mean ego in a bad way, but like, you're Carole Geronsin, right? So like you're coming in and you're like, George, I got this. Right. I don't know if you ever actually did that, but like,
No.
how did you let go of some of that control? Because every team leader, every leader listening right now, he or she knows one of the hardest parts is going like this. Here's the baton, right? The handing the baton is so hard for people because nobody can do it better. How did you do it?
Well, I think they'll both tell you that I have no ego when it comes to that. I had no problem giving up control for a number of reasons. One, and the uppermost being, is my incredible love for them and wanting them to do really well and to carry on this business for generations to come.
Yeah.
And I have never been one to purport to know it all and to be the very, very best at everything. So I'm thrilled at the fact that I have two wonderful, incredible children that have these assets with them, that they are able to present things in different ways than I would be able to do. George and I just went on an appointment, and this woman was completely blown away. She says, "Your son is so smart. Oh my gosh." And
George is like, tell me more. Tell me more. Welcome to the George Show.
And she says, and your personality and the way you present things and do things, she says, what a great team the two of you make. And
Right.
she had interviewed all these people, and she called right away, sign me up. And I've pretty much taken over the whole lead on that because she and I super connected, you know, but have no problem. I want them to excel, do well, and they don't need, actually, Tom, they don't need me anymore, except,
I wouldn't go that far.
Well-
I wouldn't go that far.
well,
But I
they don't
appreciate it.
really need me, but just to take over on certain things and that, but I love it.
It's not true.
Okay, but
Well,
I'm going to
whatever.
point counterpoint. I guarantee there's been times that both of you have said something like, "Mom, don't say that," or a moment
More
where you.
recently, in the last 2 years, maybe yes.
Really?
God, did we capture that look? and look, I mean, listen, I get family
I
business.
remember what you mean.
Oh,
What,
yeah.
the
See, now we're
woman
going to a very specific
with
appointment.
the horrible smelling room? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
I've never smelled something that smelled this bad before.
I did. I said,
Wait,
no.
on the appointment?
Yes.
In front of the
It
clients?
was after we got the listing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
but-
that stupid.
Okay. If you're that person watching right now and you complain because we're having fun, why are you watching my show? I literally will get people every now and then to say, you have too much fun in these. And I'm like, I'm sorry. We're unpacking all this good stuff, but occasionally real estate can be stressful and funny. There had to be moments for the two of you where you were like, I got this. Like, listen, man, you're the young bull, right? And you're like, I'm going to take control. You are a control freak on
True.
steroids. So how did you two tame the ego, or did you? No, George, you're up.
No, I think we totally tamed the ego for sure.
How?
Well, we just realized, so the thing is that Genelle pointed out, and the great thing that we do before listing appointments is we do qualify the clients, and we ask a lot of questions, why they're selling, who they are, so that we know who our audience is.
What are you guys looking for?
Yeah. So we know who to bring there, because normally we don't like to overwhelm them with 3. And then when we're having conversations with them at the table about their house and what we do to sell their house, we truly read them. We read their personality, and then Genelle will jump in, or I'll jump in, and we kind of know when it's the right time. And we've been doing that now for years, and it's worked out.
Yeah, it comes from experience, really.
I was just going to say, so how? Okay, the hard part of this is, and I'm gonna push over to you, because you got the lead now with new salespeople joining the company and joining the team. The hard part is, do you guys see the new Magic Johnson documentary on Apple TV? Brandon, did you see that? It is extraordinary. No. He was so battle tested. The hardest part was the other players. They weren't looking for the no-look pass that he was throwing behind his head in 2 seconds, and thank goodness they were ready. That chemistry takes time. They got really lucky. They won that first year. It was almost a miracle that they did. There's not a lot of teams that can persevere and last 20 years to work it all out to get this chemistry. How do you get the chemistry now with your new salespeople on the team?
So I think a lot of that has to, so we're doing now this thing called Coffee Clutch.
Yeah.
So every Wednesday morning, I'm taking the sales team to breakfast, and we're trying different restaurants all around. So it serves 2 purposes. One, we get to tag local businesses for marketing purposes. Secondarily, it takes everybody out of the office, gets them in a casual, easy atmosphere. Breakfast makes it far less informal. And it gives us a really good chance to talk about difficulties they might be having in the marketplace, what has been working, what hasn't been working, doing some different role playing. And what's interesting is I think you forget when you've been in the business for so long, you forget when you were newer to the business how much it's appreciated of people taking time to sit down and spend time and go over different things with you and have the time to ask questions and role play and do different things with regards to that. And I think it'd been such a long time since we have cultivated that environment and culture into our team. So that was one of the things that you and I have really been working on.
I was just going to say, this is like music to my ears right now. Now I'm gushing. Yes. So I'm yes, she's doing it.
You should gush, because I just have to interject this before I forget. I truly believe we would not be here at the level that we are today without your coaching, your sincere concern for how we're doing all the time. And people just don't understand how important it is to have a coach in order for them to succeed, because they look at us and say, what do you need a coach for? You have no clue how we need a coach,
But I think goes back
coach
to
/therapist.
For sure.
Sorry, George.
Personal coach, right?
George,
George,
George, the reason we have you here today.
Isn't listening.
Actually, this is intervention now.
I know, yes.
But I think it is important to know, you go back to one of your questions you asked, like, how do we all work together, right? And I will say this, because there does need to be a point in time where she passes the baton. That's going to be a question that's going to be asked. Well, how did that get passed? How does that now operate, right? And you have to have, if you're running a family business, you have to be very clear with who your spouse is, who your kids are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and what really truly their desires are, right? And the nice thing of how this kind of all worked out for us is George no more wants to have to hire, fire, have anything to do with managing, payroll, anything. He's like, I'm good. That's on you.
Let me just sell houses. Right?
Right? That's what he wants to do, right? That happens to be a skill set that I'm good at. And that comes back to, I think, a lot of the stuff what I loved about education. I'm just doing it in a different capacity today, right? And that's not to say I'm still obviously very involved in the business with selling and listing and everything. But I think that's why that organically kind of came about.
Yeah. Well, when we stopped talking regularly and it was just Genelle and I, because I was like, okay, she's the clear driver of the business.
She is.
Right. So, all right, if we want to accelerate growth, let's just get after it.
Yeah.
And damn, she's coachable. Okay.
No.
I got 2 more questions and then we're going to do something real fun.
Okay.
Big question for all of you. We were just talking about it sort of off camera. Like, I pride myself on this. I see it in you. We see it in, for me, a lot of my musical muses, like a David Bowie or a Madonna, that can go for decades and maintain some level of relevancy. It's not uncommon for a family business, an individual succeeder, who's out there crushing, to have their moment in the sun and then fall out of relevancy, because it's like I used to call it the Chuck Berry syndrome. Like, they get one song, one move, and they do it, and after a while, that song just isn't as hot anymore. How have you guys maintained relevancy? Like, in your business, like, how have you guys stayed hot?
Well, I think everybody has these years that you have a great year, like we did last year. Every single year, come January, we're like, how do we do this again?
Starting at zero.
Starting
again.
at zero, yeah.
Yes.
And
yes,
every single year. But I think the biggest thing for us is that, we're so, and this goes back to my mom and that question, is that she's built such confidence in us,
right,
to do what we do and feel great about what we do and know that we can excel in it, that our conversations with clients and marketing and talking to new prospective clients is that we're in a place, luckily, that we've been successful. We don't need to sell a house, which has driven us actually to go out and just have fun.
Yeah.
Like, now it's just going out, meeting people, having conversations, telling them about the market, telling them about what we do, and having fun with it. And people love us.
Right.
Like, I would say 95% of our listing appointments, if we get in the door and we sit down with somebody and have a conversation with them at the table, we're going to get the listing.
Yeah.
And that just came from 20 years together and building us up and figuring it out and being authentic and realizing that we just got to get in front of people, So when sales are slow, it's us going out to open houses, getting in front of people,
Fundamentals. Fundamentals.
Right?
You know what I love too? Watching his energy right there. He's like, we just get in and I'm like, George, slow down, bro. It's the most excited I've ever seen you. But that's the authentic side. All right. So same question. Tactically, as the CEO, how are you maintaining relevancy?
It's willing to change.
Yeah.
I said this 2 years ago. We had a choice 2 years ago when real estate shut down. And it is either we were going to completely reevaluate how we were going to go about selling houses, because you had to do that in that moment if you were not going to be able to fundamentally do it the way you were accustomed to doing it.
Right.
And so we had to sit down and say, okay, what is that going to look like? What are we willing to give up? What do we need to change? What do we need to do? And we literally just started implementing.
Right.
And, a lot of that, and you've got to try a lot of different things, and some are going to stick and some are not going to stick,
Talk
but you
about
have
that.
to be willing to try.
Yeah.
Years we've been telling to do video. Okay. Years.
This is years.
Yeah. Guess what?
My personal
This
clients,
whole-
no video.
Our whole transition, I have to say this, our whole transition in the business 2 years ago was because of that woman right there and the way she thought about things.
Right.
And it has skyrocketed us.
Yes.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be willing to go out of a little bit of your comfort zone, right? So I'm fully I've been out there on a video with no makeup, my hair up in a bun,
seen
in
it.
a
Yes.
robe, literally
Yes.
in a robe at 1:00 in the morning, and I was just like, here we go, right? And
I think, aren't those like nudie things illegal on TikTok? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I literally just had a client, a 50-year-old client of mine, not to be named,
my
said,
God.
"What is up with all these women like half naked on TikTok?" I'm like, why are we discussing this on a coaching session right now? Like,
okay, mine was barefoot dreams.
yes, okay, but in fairness, you were unwilling to. So I think part of being relevant is when you see the culture going left and you're going right, you're becoming irrelevant.
Yes.
Right. So the willingness to make that adjustment, right? And certainly during the pandemic, it was basically adjust or don't sell houses, right? It was really simple. You don't want to do it on Zoom? Well, then you're not going to do it at all, right? Like gloves, masks, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So how do you stay in that growth mindset?
You just have to, I look at it almost like, so I played sports, right? So I kind of look at it, and soccer was my big sport. So you've got half times, right? You can break it down into quarters if you want to do a different sport. So I look at it as, okay, look, we know we've got a year. So let's break it out, and we're going to assess ourselves, how we did in the first quarter, how we did in the second quarter, how we did in third, how we did in the fourth. What worked? What changes do we need to make? You know, we stopped doing mailers for a little while.
I know.
And phone stopped ringing like it would.
Surprise. Yes.
So we went back to mailers, right? We do a lot more on social media.
Right.
We got involved in TikTok, not half naked,
I
but
know. Yes,
you know,
yes.
we did get involved in TikTok.
It's all about views.
Yeah.
All about views, baby.
No, Nessie.
Hey,
So
says one of our most popular views with the comment from a woman.
Oh,
I
I know.
swagger.
yes.
I'm going to tell you.
40?
So a lot of people don't know this about me, but one of my biggest fears is public speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hate doing video. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely hate it.
That's good. There's
Okay.
only two cameras on you right now. It's perfect.
No, I know. So what was interesting, the only class that I literally barely passed in business school was public speaking, because when it came to do my presentation, I literally forgot everything I was supposed to say.
Yes.
So I've always been a person that if I've had a challenge with something, I meet it head on, right? And so I forced myself to get up and public speak when I didn't need to, but I wanted to be uncomfortable, feel uncomfortable, and be able to get over it on my own. And so when this whole thing with video came out, and I know you've been telling us for years and years and years that you got to do video, you got to do video.
decades. No, yeah.
Like I've been forcing myself
I
to
know.
go and do these videos. And so I finally told our videographer on this last one, because I just had an off day, right? And I'm like, Tom, I am so sorry, but I got to tell you this. You might not know this, but I hate public speaking and I'm afraid of camera. He's like, really?
Yeah.
I've been faking it this whole time.
Right.
But it's it's been a game changer for us. And sometimes in this business, like Genelle said, is that you have to force yourself to make change to stay relevant. And knowing that, we represent the family business, and obviously I'm an important aspect of that because I'm the testosterone in the group.
Yeah.
So I got to make sure that my presence is known on video.
Yeah,
Oh, good. So
we
can I
don't
get
want
your
to be
commitment to
dinosaurs.
do a couple more right now.
He is.
I
We're
am.
doing one
Tomorrow,
tomorrow.
and I got one
He and
next
I
week.
are doing one tomorrow.
Yeah, two big ones.
So
Okay.
the other thing is we're bringing
Yes.
our kids in.
Yes,
I was
that's the
just
other
going
thing
to
I was
ask
gonna
you
tell
because the girls are
yes.
12. How old is your
We
oldest now?
bring
11.
them all.
11. Wait, what are they going to be? ISAs? Are they
No,
going to be
we
assistants?
completely just did a lifestyle video
Yep.
on a house,
Yep.
and we've
Yep.
done this actually a
Yeah.
couple of times,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, with the
and
kids.
the kids love it.
For sure.
And definitely, if you're selling a home and you think that your larger percentage of your buyer pool is going to be someone with kids,
Right.
we've thrown them in
know
some
that client,
videos.
of course.
Show
And
them
it's
how
worked.
kids run around a house.
Right.
How do they spend their time in
Right.
their rooms, running
Right.
around yards,
Right.
and everything. And the kids love it because they go tell all their friends, "Oh, go look, I'm on video." So we don't care how many
Yeah.
views. The more
Their
views, the better it gets, right?
Right.
Parents are calling us. It's like-
And like
Got
my
a
kids.
lot of elementary
I know.
school kids looking
In
at
fact,
our videos.
one of our neighbors has.
That's not views to likes and ultimately
Okay.
leads and
Yeah.
listings, but yes,
What?
actually it is because the parents, right? It is because of the parents. Okay, we're gonna play a game called What's Hot, What's Not. You all three have to answer at the same exact time, so this can be super fun. I'm just gonna say
Oh
a
my
phrase or a
God,
word,
that's
and you're gonna
terrible.
tell me hot or not.
Okay.
Open houses,
Hot.
hot, and hot.
Yep.
Okay, so hot. Farming.
Hot.
Hot.
Yeah, George. Hot. Okay, and how big is the farm now?
That would be a Genelle question.
Yes, farms because it's farms.
10,000 now?
No, we're about 8,900 right now.
Okay, 8,900.
Yeah.
Okay, direct mail.
Hot.
Okay, I love that. Emailing. No,
I'm sorry. I was going to say hot. I thought you were asking her the question.
no, I'm
No, we're
well.
all
Direct mails. Okay,
Hot.
so emailing your database.
Hot.
I would say not for me because I don't really do that.
Well, that's because we
But
do that.
everyone
We
else-
have
But I'm
a-
sure it's hot.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get George's email contacts and put him into the system.
We have his email contacts.
Okay.
We
Everybody
do
knows that about me. So
I get calls
Okay.
all the time. Oh, I saw your new listings off the email because we email them all the time.
Instagram.
Hot.
That would be Genelle. Hot, I guess.
I'm not even on Instagram.
Okay.
so.
Okay. The CEO says hot. Calling your database.
Hot.
I'm not really good at that either.
George is just.
I am. I am.
Well, hold on. To answer that, because this is a great segue. She, during the last 3 weeks, has been making a lot of calls to her
Don't leave me
database.
hanging.
Yeah,
And-
Don't leave me
six
hanging.
weeks. What? Oh, sorry. Last 6 weeks. You know when I had my hip
Fist
surgery?
pumps. Hot. Yes.
I was not watching any television.
I know.
I was texting, calling everybody.
And
you
she's
know?
gotten a lot from it. Honestly, hot
I
for her.
have.
For sure. Okay,
Yeah,
so texting
no,
your
for
database.
sure.
Hot.
So I'll answer hot for my mom.
All right, so you ready? Asking for referrals.
Hot.
Okay, door knocking.
Hot.
George.
Well, you don't.
Okay, short form video.
Hot.
I don't do short form video. I do long form video.
Oh, tell me more about that. Well, long form video.
Needs to be short.
Long form video.
Hot.
Thank you.
Hot.
Running Google ads.
Hot.
That'd be Genelle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot. I'm asking the boss over there. Work ethic.
Hot. Super hot.
Yeah.
Like on fire it has to be.
We got a on fire.
Double
That's what I
hot.
was looking for.
That's what you have to do today. Look I'm 45 years.
Yes.
And I work as if I was in the business only 5 years.
Yes.
It's true.
Work ethic. Super hot.
Super hot.
Okay. Mental toughness.
Hot.
Very hot.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Off the charts, right?
Yep.
Leadership skills.
Hot.
Hot.
So here's what's great. At the summit this year, I'm telling everybody, it is all about mindset, right? Mental toughness.
For sure.
It's all about work ethic.
For sure.
It's all about enhancing your sales skills, right? Knowing what
Yep.
to say, confidence, all the stuff that we just do, the
Yep.
bravado, right? Repeatable and reliable marketing and lead generation, period, end of story, brand
Yep.
referrals and demand. And you got to have leadership skills because everybody around you is trying to talk you out of the market and being successful.
Yes.
I think
sure.
that's a hot.
Do you
Very
have
hot.
Do you have one that's a not for them?
Doing
think of
videos in a robe.
Come on, I'm putting you on the spot.
Doing
Think of one.
Doing videos in a robe.
She'd say hot.
I was looking for a knot, George. I was looking for a knot. I don't know. Some people's hot are different than other people's hots. All right. Okay. So as we wrap this up, first of all, thank you for being on the show. It has been a long time coming. The camera does well for you. You are such a rock star, and I couldn't be more proud as a parent, right?
Thank
Watching
you.
what the
I
two
know,
of these
we
two have
talked.
done, and then with their kids, and just
And with your kids.
and well, thank you very
Look,
yes,
no,
we've all
really,
done okay.
truly.
We've all done okay.
Yeah.
Work ethic, staying relevant, being current, marketing, knowing the market inside and out, twice backwards, getting out and talking. That's why you guys are so darn successful. So, okay, as we wrap, where should they follow you on Instagram or on TikTok?
It's all the same. The Geronsins.
Okay. All right. So at the Geronsins on every possible channel, North Orange County, but you guys are like all over Orange County, California.
Yes,
so
we are.
All right. As we wrap it up, thank you so much for watching. If you have a friend who is running a family business, is maybe struggling working with their kids or just with their team, because so much of what we're talking about, it's the same, the same rules apply to a new sales agent, a new marketing director, everybody. Just how do you manage it all? How do you let go of the ego and let them grow? So thank you so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. We're out.
Bye.
Thank you.